About 1 or 2 years ago, I by accident stumbled over the awareness of this airline's existence. With only a handful of flights per day, I was wondering, what the heck is this airline? Who are they? And why are they never flying to where I need to go? But today is different. They fly to Bangkok, and that's where I needed to go today. So let's check out Greater Bay Airlines. Hello and welcome to my channel, and greetings from Hong Kong. Today I'm gonna fly an airline I didn't know existed until about 1 or 2 years ago, so I'm quite excited to actually try them out. The airline I'm talking about is Greater Bay Airlines, and it's already time to go to the gate, so let's check out the aircraft. Many low-cost carriers operating out of Hong Kong use the satellite terminal, where the 200 plus numbered gates are, which means two things. Firstly, I need to take the inter-terminal train to get there, and secondly, it may indicate that Greater Bay Airlines, or in short GBA, is considered a low-cost carrier. Gate 204 I have to find. Here it is, my ride to Bangkok today. So if I'm not mistaken, Greater Bay Airlines is a low-cost carrier from Hong Kong, and about 1 or 2 years ago I took HK Express, also low-cost carrier from Hong Kong. What's with my hair? Also from Hong Kong to Thailand. Today I will be able to compare these two airlines. If you want to see my previous review of HK Express, you can watch it here or here. I'm not sure on which side, one of these sides. There should be a link. I really have no idea what to expect from GBA. Maybe I should name this video my unbiased opinion about GBA or something similar. That's HK Express. So I just googled that this airline is operating under Greater Bay Airlines only since 2022. So it's a fairly new airline, although it has been operating under different names before. But Greater Bay Airlines, it's now only like 4 years old. Oh wow, it's raining now, full on. Boarding started very much on time and no boarding pass was needed, as the gate opened through face recognition. I still wonder where they got a picture of my face from for their database. Maybe at immigration. Anyway, let's board my first ever Greater Bay Airlines flight, which will be operated by a 10-year-old Boeing 737-800. I was greeted quite friendly, and I got a first glance of the blue and white all-economy class cabin, which is arranged in a typical 3-3 seat layout. Being worried about the legroom, and because of my 1.93 m, I paid a bit extra to be seated at the emergency exit row. But of course, I had no idea that the flight was only half full, and I could have saved the money. Welcome on board Greater Bay Airlines Boeing 737-800. As expected, the legroom of the emergency exit row is fabulous, ensuring an obstacle-free escape if needed. It looks like I'm the only one on the entire aircraft sitting next to an emergency exit. Luckily the rain has stopped and no weather-related delay is expected. In the seatback in front of me I find the GBA safety card. And there's also this information brochure, I believe promoting real estates, something I have also seen on other airlines before recently. And as so often with low-cost carriers, there's also a menu for the chargeable food and beverage, and merch I guess. We will look at it more closely a bit later in the flight. Since I sit next to the emergency exit, I duly familiarize myself with the handling of it. And since the door mechanism requires the space above the window shade is inverted. Boarding is completed and that's my space today. The plane seems about half full or half empty, depending on the philosophy. So it's going to be quite a comfortable ride, I would say. We are about to leave Hong Kong and I better clean up the mess I created. Bye bye Hong Kong. I hope to come back soon again. By the way, have you already subscribed to my channel despite my annoying Swiss German accent? If you like this kind of content, maybe consider doing so. That would help my channel grow. And if you like this particular video so far, why not leave a thumbs up? Thank you for your kind support. So if you ever plan to pay a little bit extra for the emergency exit, just be aware that right at the emergency exit you have a limited armrest. It's more like a pro forma armrest. But that's only on one side. On the other side you have a normal armrest with the seat recliner knob here. And talking about seat recline, shall we check it out? It's alright, not too bad. Well, I'm glad I'm not sitting behind me. Of course, there's also a fold-down table. The cabin crew just handed out some water, free of charge, which is quite nice. That's surely not something you would get with Ryanair or EasyJet. Let's have a look at the Great Enjoyment Cafe and Shop. So that's the food for purchase. More snacks. Drinks, of course, can't be missed. With coffee and here we go, some plane models and Greater Bay Airlines merch. Some more stuff, confectionery they call it. I mean, feel free to pause if you want to see a bit closer what's in there. I'll go through it a bit more fast, otherwise it takes longer than the flight. Okay, that's it. That was the Great Enjoyment Cafe and Shop. Let me see if there are any charging ports, because my Osmo Pocket 3 is running out of battery. Yeah, I don't see anything. This is something I have noticed, that Asian low-cost carrier, they don't allow outside food or beverage. I might be mistaken, but I think in Europe, like with EasyJet or Ryanair, you are allowed to bring food and drinks. Here we have the overhead reading lights and individual air fans. Obviously there are no personal IFE screens, but there are also no overhead screens that would fall down from the ceiling. So if you're flying with Greater Bay Airlines, better bring something to read or something to watch yourself, or somebody to talk to. Luckily, I always have my old-fashioned analog travel block with me, which provides some activity on otherwise rather boring flights. This travel block also helps me remembering specific things about certain flights, which is especially helpful when I edit videos several months after having taken the flight. I love this legroom. But what about the legroom on the other, regular seats? Let's find out. As you can see, I can move my legs freely, which I consider a generous legroom when being nearly 2 meters tall, so that's definitely a nice treat by GBA. Regarding in-flight entertainment, let's check if they have an onboard Wi-Fi. Yeah, not really. That's not them. By the way, I have noticed, despite the aircraft being already 10 years old, it looks in a splendid condition. I wonder if it has been refurbished. I mean, I have seen much worse conditions of aircraft that were younger than 10 years. Let's check out the lavatory in the rear of the aircraft. I'm slightly too tall to stand upright in here, but this rather small restroom looks quite clean, and I haven't detected anything out of the ordinary that would distinguish GBA from other airlines, so I can't say this loo review makes this video more interesting, but at least it completes it. Yeah, that was a tiny bathroom. Now I feel like I have exhausted what I can show you on this flight. There's not much more unless something else comes into my mind. But in the meanwhile, I think I'm gonna try to have a little nap. However, shortly after my nap attempt, the outside air became a bit turbulent and the rest of the flight was fairly rough. But the view of the clouds was interesting and quite impressive. The rough weather didn't prevent us from approaching Bangkok in a timely manner, and soon we touched down at Bangkok Suvarnabhumi airport. Welcome to Bangkok. That was a surprisingly pleasant flight, also thanks to the extra space I had because it was quite empty, the aircraft. Lots of space, I could walk around, and it was overall a good flight, especially considering it's a low-cost carrier, but I still got a bottle of water. Therefore, I would say I could recommend Greater Bay Airlines without hesitation. By the way, shortly before arrival in Bangkok, I was approached by a smiling cabin attendant who was very interested about my filming activity. I always try to film discreetly, not because I want to spy on the airline or their crew, but because I don't want to make other passengers and the crew feeling uncomfortable because of the sight of a camera. Anyway, the cabin attendant seemed excited when I told her about this flight review and she asked for my channel name. And she also suggested I say hi to the pilots after landing. How nice is that? To meet such an enthusiastic and friendly cabin crew member. Such a contrast to Europe, where you are sometimes greeted with a warning not to film any crew members. Which I try to avoid anyway, but this small action by the GBA cabin attendant was enough to win my heart for Greater Bay Airlines. Sometimes it's the small gestures that make a difference. Small gestures which I quite often experience with Southeast Asian carriers. Said that, thanks for watching. Till next time, bye for now.